I have no idea why these two black men are at home. And I just it makes no sense. Even if you hold the coaches on the same standard as the players, like what did they really do wrong?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shadow League Locker Room. My name is Ovi Mahaley, former two-time All-Pro fullback for the Baltimore Ravens and Atlanta Falcons. And I have a former Baltimore Raven that is my dog, Daniel Wilcox. Played with the Jets, played with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course, played with the Baltimore Ravens. And we were also roommates for a while, so this is like my guy, my guy. Before Ovi was really Ovi, Daniel was helping Ovi become Ovi. That makes any sense. But hey, Wilcox, man,
Yeah,
thank you for coming on, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. You was always Ovi. You was just a different Ovi when I met
I
you. So,
was.
but you was always Ovi, dog. You can't ever take that away from
I,
me.
I was, but you know what? People
Yeah,
know me as the All Pro, highest paid fullback in NFL history. First Pro
yeah,
Bowl fullback in Falcons franchise, like that guy. And mental is everything in football. We all know that, man. And I
yes,
had the
100%.
muscles, I had the want to, but my mental was not right. I doubted myself. I was a little bit anxious. I didn't feel like I belonged. I feel like an imposter syndrome. But man, you
Hmm.
you wasn't the biggest guy. You wasn't the fastest guy. You wasn't
Right.
like that big name. You wasn't making all the money, but you walked around there like you was that dude. You walked around with Ray, with Prime, all these guys like you belong. And I
Yeah,
was like, how's this guy doing that? And you took it. You took time out your schedule to mentor young Ovi on the mental. Everything from on the
yeah.
football field, even off the football field. So you helped me understand how to talk to certain people and how to be able to stand up tall. So thank you, man. I appreciate that, and congratulations on all your success, football and otherwise.
Thank you, Ovi. Thank you, Ovi, man. I appreciate you saying that. I never looked at myself that way. I get that people tell me that all the time, bro. Like the way I enter a room is different, and it says something, and people see it, and my aura is different
Yeah.
when I walk into a space, and people tell me that all the time. But honestly, Ovi, I feel like I'm just the same kid that was at Decatur High School, Oakhurst Elementary, Renfro Middle School over in Decatur, and I just, I guess I've always had kind of a bigger than life type persona without me even really noticing it, because I've always looked at other people like they was in much better situations than me. Growing up in a single family home here in Atlanta with my mom, you know, shit, it was just me and her and my sister. That was it. And then as I got older, my cousins and stuff kind of joined in, and I guess having three or four cousins that's a little bit taller than me. I got two of them are 6'6", another one's 6'4", the other one's 6'3", and I'm right here at 6'2" and a half. So to be the shortest one out of all of us and one of the younger one, I guess I kind of had to hold my own. Maybe I don't know, but I've always been a sensational athlete, and my athleticism has kind of put me above the rest my entire life.
No, I love it, dude. And we talked a little bit before the camera, and our producer was like, "Man, we need this on camera. Needs to be on the record." Like your journey to the NFL, because I don't care what people say. Oh man, I didn't get 8 Pro Bowls. I wasn't a Hall of Famer. You made it to the NFL. Period. There are people who would dream to be in our
Hmm.
position. Top 1% of the top 1%, even getting here. Tell me about your story, your journey, because from what you said before, it was one to where the average person looking at you wouldn't say that guy's making it to the league, but you made it here and you stayed for a good little bit. Man, how'd you get here?
Yeah, well, I was one of those guys that didn't know I was good enough to be an NFL guy early on. So in middle school and high school, even though I started both ways, and I was one of those kids that came into high school and started varsity as a freshman. In football. In basketball, I just picked up the sport, so I started JV my freshman year of basketball. Had never even dribbled a basketball before, never shot it before, nothing. I found out I could dunk in the eighth grade in middle school, so all my cousins, really convinced me to play my ninth grade year. And next thing you know, I started JV. By mid-season, I was a starter on JV. By the end of that season, I got elevated to varsity that year. And then my 4 years of high school just kind of took off from there. I ran track, played baseball, played football and basketball. So I was a four-sport ladder athlete. And then I was all county and all state in three of those sports, in track, football, and basketball. So when I finished up my senior year, I was taking a bunch of visits. I took one to UNC, one to Clemson, one to Georgia Tech, and then one to UGA. And when I went to UGA, I fell in love with Georgia. So I committed to the University of Georgia. It was supposed to be a bunch of us had all committed together at the same time. Me, Patrick Paz, Orantis Grant. It was a ton of us. We all was coming out together in '96. And when I committed to UGA, hell, I thought the story was going to be written at that point. Then I found out I was ineligible because of a foreign language
Oof.
requirement. I needed 2 years of full years of Spanish. I passed 1 year, and the second year I kind of skated right underneath the radar, so I didn't do very good the second year. Once they started getting a little bit more complex, I didn't have another pretty Spanish girls around me to make me want to continue to work on my Spanish. Man, I had no idea that I was going to be attracted to Spanish women later on in life, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of slipped on the Spanish thing, man, and it ended up making me ineligible. Georgia tried to Prop 48 me, which is kind of like a preferred walk-on type situation. I would have had to pay for my own school. My mom didn't have that type of money. And then they told me about Georgia Military. UGA told me about Georgia Military. So Georgia Military reached out. I went on a visit down there. It was probably the worst thing, saddest thing I think I've ever seen in my life at the
Going
time.
from Georgia to Georgia military,
Yeah,
that's a little drop
it
off.
was a huge drop off, bro. But I needed the discipline, And my mom worked at the operating room pretty much my entire life as a young adult, as a young kid. So she worked at Grady Hospital downtown Atlanta for 37 years in the operating room. So she was always on call. She was a surgical technician, so she was always on call. So it was just me, her, and my older sister. And so when I got a chance to go to GMC, the discipline was right
Yeah.
on time. Lights out every night at 10 o'clock. Had to wear the uniform every single day, iron them, shine my brass on my shoulders, shine my belt buckle, shine my shoes. Had to wear the hat. Had to salute every time. I had to do taps in the morning to the flag every
Wow.
morning. All of that, man. I ended up graduating in 2 years at Georgia Military, and I was a full-time student, and I was a full-time football player while I was
Wow.
there. I graduated in 2 years with like a 3.8 GPA, and end up transferring to Appalachian State. So when I got the app, ended up being redshirted my first year App because I was 1 hour short transferring from App State and to Georgia, from Georgia Military to App State. So I ended up being ineligible my junior year of college. So I started 2 years at GMC, and my second year I was a JUCO All American. I think I was the top two, top three receivers coming out of
Wow.
JUCO. Ended up at App State. And I get there and end up having a red shirt. My first year there, everybody on campus already talking about the new guy that's going to the
Mm.
NFL, and they was like, "Oh, Wilcox, he going to the league." And that the same thing you said earlier, Ovi, about my presence, right, and how I carried myself. That kind of came up again talking to some of my teammates from App State a little while ago, and they was telling me like, "Bro, you had such a bigger than life
Yeah.
persona. It was like you was a god, like walking
Yeah.
around campus,
Amongst men.
So but I, yeah, and I was like, bro, like I just came in, I just did what I have always did, just outworked every freaking body there, and just tried to be the best version of myself I can be. But I never smoked, I never drank, I didn't gamble, I didn't do any of those things. So all the things, like everybody would go to these keg parties, and I wasn't interested in that stuff, but I would always go over to support my
Yeah.
teammates, right? So I said, bro, if you throwing a party, I'm gonna be there. I ain't staying, but I'm coming. So I would get there and I would hang out for 10, 15, 30 minutes tops. I walked around, introduced myself to everybody, dap up all my teammates and stuff. Then I throw them the deuces and I head to the crib. So that was kind of my persona for 3 years at App State. The next year I came back, and then I was like the third receiver. Somehow they had two All-American receivers in front of me
Mm-hmm.
already, and they had just had a heck of a year the year I had to sit out. So they couldn't just give me
Yep.
their spots because they were All-American for 2 years. So I ended up being the third receiver, and then my coach at the time, me and him didn't kind of get along very well. But the O-line coach kept trying to convince me to move to tight
Mm.
end. He was like, "Bro, you move to tight end, Wilcox. I promise you, I can get you to the league." His name is Stacy Searles. I think Coach Searles may be at Clemson right now or something like that, coaching at Clemson or something like that. Stacy Searles, but he get all
Yep.
the props for convincing me to move to tight end. So like the last 4 games of my junior year, I moved to tight end. I ended up catching like 25 balls, had like 5 touchdowns in like those last 4 or 5 games. We lose first round of the playoffs. And then my senior year, I put on 20 pounds and come back and play tight end at like 218,
That's a small
220.
tight end,
And
dude. That's a
then
small tight end.
it was. It was. And there was nothing like me at all in college at the time. So when they moved me to tight end, Ovi, it was kind of like the best thing that happened to me. And you saw how I kind of
Yeah.
played in Baltimore. Even though I played tight end, they called me an
Mm-hmm.
H back. and I kind of play like 4 or 5 positions. I play fullback, I play tight end, I play the wing, I play the slot. Sometimes I get out wide, and that's exactly what happened. It was like as soon as I got the tight end, I became a mismatch for
Yep.
other teams, but just because they had me labeled as a tight end on the sheet, when I came in the game, they would bring in a safety or a linebacker to try to cover me, and that shit was impossible. When I say impossible, it was impossible. Then they would start putting corners on me, bigger corners. That shit was impossible. So it was a mismatch every week. I ended up leaving my senior year with about 100 catches at tight end, and led the team in touchdowns, led the team in catches, and I think I had close to 1,000 yards, if not a little bit over 1,000. And I graduated from. I mean, I left out of App State and ended up getting a shot to go to the New York Jets as an undrafted free agent. And when I got there, I was dealing with the
Yep.
same stuff that I kind of dealt with in college because nobody really knew where to
Mm-hmm.
play me and how to play me because I was too small. I was undersized. I wasn't a big tight end. At the time, all the tight ends were 6'6", 6'8", 6'7", and 260, 270. You know, and the linebackers was almost the same as big as the
Mm-hmm.
tight ends were. You know, so when I came in the league, I was a mismatch for everybody route wise, but I would get slung all over the place as far as blocking.
About to say,
Yeah, I was only 220 pounds, 222,
yeah.
225. And I put on, I think, 10 pounds to go to the league. So when I got to the league, I think I ran my 40 on my pro day at like 228. And I ran a 4.45 on my pro
Wow.
day. You know, so that got me the shot with the Jets. And I made the team as a rookie. I don't know how I made it
Special
because I got
teams.
hurt in training camp. Yeah, I mean, I got hurt in training camp. They cut me and sent me home. Herm Edwards cut me, sent me home. So my first mini camp, I got cut and sent home for 3 weeks. I came back with only 1 week left of training camp, and we was playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, Donovan McNabb, Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, and that was when they had that old turf field with all the
Mm-mm.
seams in it that was no good. And I remember coming back. I only played that one game in preseason. I missed all the preseason games except the very last one, and I made the team off that 1 week. That very following week, after I made the team, they put me on the practice squad. The first week of the season was a 911
Ooh.
incident, the Twin Towers.
Wow.
And I'm in New York. I'm in New
Wow.
York during that whole experience. Yeah. You know, so it was tough, man. Right after the 911 incident, we decided we didn't want to play. We were supposed to be flying to Oakland to play the Raiders that week. And the Jets was the determining factor why the whole league got canceled that week. And I don't know if you weren't in the league yet, I don't think, Ovi, so I don't know if you know. But that week, they actually came to the New York Jets, and we was the determining factor why the entire league got canceled and no games got played the week after
Wow.
9/11 because we didn't want to fly to Oakland. We felt like it was disrespectful to the families of New
Yeah.
York. We felt like it was disrespectful to the firemen. The last thing we felt like we needed to be doing was playing a game. So all the games in the NFL got canceled for the first time in the history of the NFL that week after the 911 incident. And then the next week, we went back as regular scheduled programming, and then they actually activated me and put me on the active roster that week. And I was on the active roster for probably 3 or 4 games. I played my first game on special teams against the Steelers on Monday Night Football that week during that 3 week
Mm-hmm.
span. And then they cut me and put me back on the practice squad again. And then towards the end of the season, they cut me and activated me back to the active roster. And then I started my first game ever. It was against the Oakland Raiders, the first round of the playoffs that year as a rookie. And then I came back the next year to the Jets. They put me on the practice squad all year. I had gained all this weight. They asked me to gain. They wanted me to get up to
Ooh.
250. I got up to 250 in the
Whoa.
offseason. Yep. Got up to 250. I felt like I was too sluggish when moving the way I wanted to move. So I dropped back down to about 240. And by the end of the season, I was 222 again, you know. And yeah, so I played that whole season basically on the practice squad, and they never activated me. I was working my ass off, and I literally thought about
Yeah.
quitting. You know, at this moment, I was like, bro, I can't work this
For
hard.
nothing.
I hurt my shoulder in practice. Yeah, I'm like, bro, I felt like a practice dummy. You know, so I thought about quitting. I talked to God. I prayed to God, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing no more, God. Please give me a sign. Just give me something to let me know that I'm doing the
Yeah.
right thing, because I was working so hard with no
Yeah.
reward. And I was like, I just need something to know that I'm doing the right thing. And literally the next week, I got a phone call from Tampa Bay asking me, do I want to be a Buccaneer? I was like, hell yeah. I can't wait to get back to the South. It's cold
Yeah.
as shit in New York. I can't
Are
wait
you
to get out
kidding
of this
me?
bitch.
Florida?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. So I end up talking to my agent, and my agent, like, they want to know, Tampa wants to know if they give you this shot, are you going to try to negotiate a contract with the Jets to stay in New York? I said, man, I'm on the
The
first thing
first.
smoking. As soon as you tell me you want me and you're going to assign me to the active roster, I ain't even got to talk to the Jets. I'm out of here. I can't wait to get back down south, get back to back close to
Yeah.
the crib. So they put me on the plane. that same day, flew me to Tampa. By the time the Jets knew, I was halfway to Tampa. It was on my day off. It was on a Tuesday. So it was like on my day off. I flew down to Tampa. As soon as I got down there, I'm signing my contract. Congratulations, you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We go to the freaking Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl in Tampa that year. And it was just a really dope
Wait,
experience,
time
man.
out.
I
You have a ring?
yeah. Yeah, you know I
I
got a
be
ring.
forgetting
Stop
you have
playing,
a
Ovi.
ring, man. Because I played 10 years. I got no ring. You
Yeah,
got a whole Super Bowl ring.
yeah. Yeah, but you the highest paid fullback in the
See,
history
that's
of
the
the
thing. Like,
NFL. I didn't
I
know
got a
that,
Pro
Ovi.
Bowl.
If I'd have knew that, I would have told you to give me that money
See,
that you owe me. Give me
that
that
that's
money
the
that you
thing.
owe me.
At the time, I'll take the money over the ring. Now that
Yeah,
I'm old, brother, I
right.
would kill for
You
a
want the
ring right
ring?
now.
Yeah, yeah, man. I tell you what, I thought we was gonna get another one when I was in Baltimore, but we didn't. But I feel you 100%. You know, the Falcons has disappointed this city for a long freaking time, Ovi. So if you would have got a ring down here, boy, you'd have been God. You think you God
Oof.
now for going to the Pro Bowl, being the highest paid fullback in the history of the league, and smacking all them linebackers while you was here, bro? If you'd have won the
It
Super Bowl as
changes
a
everything.
Falcon,
It changes everything, man.
bro, you would get the key to the city, dog.
Oh,
You'll be Jermaine Dupri.
for real, for real. But before
You'll be Jeezy,
man,
Ti. You'll be all on their level. It'd
you
be
can only
crazy.
imagine. But before we get too much into this, I gotta talk to you about
Yeah,
some questions that people want to know about. These are some trending topics. Everything from black coaches getting fired
right.
to Tyreek Hill and his recent trade drama to even some controversial rankings with Angel Reese ahead of Jason Tatum. So we're gonna dive in
Yeah.
real quick. Black Monday
Okay,
rolled
let's do it.
around. It was a couple days ago, and Black
This
Monday,
shit crazy.
black coaches and black people getting fired. Gerard Mayo, Antonio Pierce, they fired after their first full seasons. Raheem supposedly on the hot seat. I don't think he should be, but the fact that we still got Raheem, D'Amico Ryans, Todd Bowles, Mike Tomlin, that's great. But I feel like we should have more. Is it cool that they firing black coaches with just 1 year? What are your thoughts on that?
Can I say what
Yeah,
I
man.
really
This
feel?
is hey, the Shadow League locker room, man. We're a little bit unfiltered here.
Well, I tell you what, boy. As soon as I saw they fired those two guys, I was like, "Fuck the Patriots, fuck the Raiders." That was
Yeah,
my honest thought, because I felt like it was a token
it
black
was,
hire in the
dude.
first place. Yeah, I mean, it was like the fact that they hired Antonio Pierce in Vegas. I was like, boy, the world is really
I
starting to
felt so
change.
good. It's like a
And then the way
rainbows
they,
and everything. I feel like
yeah,
sun's shining. They got my man because
and Mayo
as
too.
interim coach, he was that
Yep,
dude. The coach, I mean, the team rallied around him. The players really felt with
a
him. I was
hundred
like,
percent.
yo, they're gonna give him a chance. They better give him a chance. Don't make him interim coach and then like go find somebody else. He's right there. They gave him a shot. I said, this is what you're supposed to do. I said, let him really have a chance to make this work. 1 year gone.
Yeah, the only thing I can appreciate about the Falcons hiring Raheem, me and Raheem go way back. My first 2 years with the Jets, I was with
Okay,
Raheem,
okay.
and then when I went to Tampa, I was with Raheem in Tampa too. So we go way back from 2000. But when they hired Raheem, I was super happy that they did that, and I was even more happy when they brought in the two quarterbacks, the Kirk Cousins and then the
Yeah.
Penix kid. Because they never hired black quarterbacks and
It
black
was the
coaches and
first
give them a real
time
quarterback.
Wilcox ever to have a
Right.
black head coach, a black GM, and a black starting quarterback. I didn't know it was the first time ever in the history of Everdom. So I'm like,
Right.
yo, that's some great history to make.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. That's
But do you think
100%
Gerard
real. The
Mayo,
Ravens, the
Antonio
Ravens,
Pierce, were those firings justified? Because they had terrible seasons, but it's their
No,
fault.
no, they wasn't justified at all. It's not. How is it going to be your fault when you taking on somebody else's team? You didn't even get a chance to build your team yet. Dog, give me 2-3 years to build a team. Like, why would you fire me after the first year? To me, it has to be some conduct detrimental to the team
Yeah.
type shit. And if it's not that type of stuff, bro, like, I have no idea why these two black men are at home. And I just it makes no sense. Even if you hold the coaches on the same standard as the
Yeah.
players, like, what did they really do wrong? Honestly, did they say something wrong in the media? Did they sleep with the head coaches? I mean, with the owner's daughter or something? Like what really happened? Both of these are former players that poured
Yeah.
out their heart, blood, and soul for these programs. And I played against both of those guys. So to
Yeah.
see them both get a chance to be a head coach, it really made me feel warm on the inside. And the fact that Dion is like the head coach at Colorado right now, a former teammate of mine, I think he's a huge part of this shakeup all
Oh yeah.
around the world, right? Because they never wanted us to do what
Never.
Dion is doing right now. Dion skipped all the steps they be trying to force us to take to try to get where we really should be. You can't go play this game for 30 years of your life and not know football. And then they every time you come and try to coach, they try to belittle you and bring you all the way down to some
Yes.
intern shit instead of putting you in a spot where you could really be beneficial to the program and to these players. And the one thing that's
Yeah.
always overlooked is being able to relate to your team and being able to relate to your players. And that's what happens when you bring in guys like Mayo, guys like Pierce. So they can relate to everything these players are going to. And they keep hiring these guys, these white guys, they ain't never played the game, they
Oh,
quirky, they
oh,
jerky, they kind of smart as
yo,
hell, and they keep hiring those guys, but they really can't relate
Yo,
to the
Wilcox, the
player.
carousel kills me. It's a coaching carousel
It
and it's a
is.
backup quarterback carousel to where you can be mediocre as hell and still get a chance to be head coach or quarterback as long as as you feel.
Right.
I talked about this before with my boy Brian Finneran, who's Caucasian, and he agrees with me. He's like, owners want to see somebody that they can relate to. And because most owners are white, they're
Right.
not black, they're going to relate to a head coach. They're going to relate to a head quarterback that looks like them. Because for the longest time, they thought black people were too dumb to play quarterback. And there's a great series that Michael Vick did
They
where,
they
where
never
they talked
they
about
they
it.
never thought that. That was
That,
their
yeah, that was an
excuse.
excuse.
They never thought
Well,
that shit. They was afraid that we was going to take money out of their pocket.
that too.
That's
But
all. What's happening right now is what they was afraid
yeah,
of. Go
because
ahead,
you're
Ovi.
absolutely right. But now it's almost like, all right, we got to get one of those. Just like with Jackie Robinson, we got to get one of them boys because when you see the ability to have dual threat, the ability to pass and run, and we can think at a high level like, oh crap, floodgates are open. I want to get me a black quarterback. I want to get me
Yeah.
a Jaden Daniels. I want to get me a Michael Penix. And the same thing in the coaching ring is starting to happen, but it's still we haven't broken through that glass ceiling yet. I thought with Pierce,
We have.
Antonio Pierce, and Gerard,
Yeah.
I believe last year was probably one of the highest years of getting black coaches hired. But
Right.
I was hopeful, and now after seeing this, man, it's a little bit frustrating.
It is frustrating. I deal with the same thing in Baltimore. Like we hired Zach Orr as a D coordinator this year, and we absolutely stunk it up the first half of the season and on defense. And I had this conversation with Corey Ivy,
Yeah,
a former
yeah,
teammate of mine from Tampa and Baltimore, and I was telling I was like, bro, like dog, I don't care. He don't give two shits about nobody.
yeah.
He
He
gonna
is.
say
Yes, he
exactly what's on
is.
his mind,
Him,
no
him, and all
filter,
his
no
teeth. He
nothing.
gonna say it.
And he was like, he sucks. He need to get out of there. He sucks. And I was like, bro, like give him time, bro. Like give him time to breathe. Like first of all, he's one of
Yeah,
us. When somebody's one of us, we got to figure out a way to have some chill and some. We can't join the army of
you
everybody
got
else
enough haters
hating on
already.
us. Yeah, we got enough hate. And I tell my son that all the time. Like, son, stop being down on yourself. You got enough people in this world gonna be down on you. You need to be the person building you up and thinking that you're better than
Yeah,
what you are. Stop selling yourself short. So when I see us beating up on us, it frustrates me. It's hard. Dion first year in
ooh,
Colorado, they
yep,
stunk it up. They won 4 more games than they did the year before because they was
yep,
0-12. When they ended up being 4 and whatever, 4-8 or
yeah.
something like
Started
that.
fast too.
Only went, yeah, started fast and then ended up losing all those games back to back. And everybody was like, Dion can't do it. Then this year he come back and almost go to the damn national title. It's crazy. I almost entered the
Yes,
playoffs. So it's like, what are you gonna say? You like give these guys time to make the changes necessary to make the team theirs. On every single team, these coaches get an opportunity to make their team theirs. I remember being in Baltimore. I remember being in Tampa. I remember being in New York. These coaches got 3-4 years to try to make a team fully theirs where everybody 100% buys in, and now they can go run the table on people and try to score some real points and win some real championships and titles. But if you just give a guy 1 year with a bunch of players he didn't recruit, with a bunch of players that really don't respect him as the
yeah,
head guy, and he still got to deal with disgruntled guys that like the old head coach and don't really like his new ways. It's hard for anybody to
yeah,
maneuver through that. Like I don't think it's fair to fire a coach after 1 year, especially a
yeah,
black coach. Don't do this shit just to make people think you're a cool franchise and
yeah.
you down. That
I
sucks. That's what it
I agree,
feels like.
man. The next topic, Tyreek Hill. We got some drama
Yeah.
over here because the man was in a good spot with the Chiefs winning championships. He wanted that money. He chased the
He should
paper.
have stayed.
I'm not mad at him.
He should have
8-9
stayed.
record. Fell
I'm,
short of
I'm
the
mad at him.
he
I'm
fell
mad
short
at
of
him.
the playoff. In the season finale, faced the
Yeah.
Jets, ended up losing 32-20, and was hot. He came out of that game and was talking about I want to go somewhere to
I
win. I
got to
want
get
to be
up out of
somewhere
here.
else. So is Tyreek Hill worth keeping for the Dolphins, or is it fair
No,
for him to ask for a trade when his team missed the
no.
playoffs, but he chose to be there? What's your thoughts?
I think it's fair for him to ask for a trade for sure.
But he chose to
Um,
come down. What you asked for a trade for? You got the money. They paid you. You
yeah,
here. What's wrong?
man, who cares? Over, you know how this league works. Ain't nobody in this league, business wise, is running their business in favor
No.
of you or me. They're running their business in favor of themselves. They're trying to run their business to the best they can. Tyreek only owns one business. It's him. So he has to run his business the best way he possibly can. Unfortunately, it looks bad that he's ready to leave when they suck. You know, it looks bad to other guys, and everybody, all these other guys are connected. You know how the circle of
Oh yeah.
trust goes. Right now, he was in the circle of trust when he took all that money to go to Miami. He went down there thinking he was going to have Tua. Tua has been injury prone for the last 2, 3
Yes.
seasons, and he's like, "I've
Yeah.
had enough, bro. I need a quarterback." He knows his best years are flashing before his eyes right now, and he's on his way down, not on his
Yeah.
way up. So he don't have much time left, and he understands that process. Now he's like, "Bro, I got to get somewhere where I get a quarterback and I can win." The same thing Devontae Adams is
Yep.
dealing with. You know, all these quarterbacks are dealing with the same. All these top receivers, the Odell Beckhams, the Tyreek Hills, the Devontae Adams, all those guys are dealing with the same thing. You know, so that's why you see them bouncing around trying to find that perfect fit in quarterback. I tell every young guy I mentor that plays the receiver position, dog, go somewhere where they got an elite
Yep.
quarterback. If your quarterback is not elite, you will not ever be the ultimate version of yourself that you want to be at the receiver position. Tyreek Hill could be as fast as he want to be, as quick as he want to be, but if nobody could get the ball to him, he'll never be Tyreek Hill that we know he could truly be. So I do not blame him for getting up out of there. It was his fault he left Kansas City in the
Yes.
first place for the greed, for the money. And I'm not mad at him for being greedy with the money because our window opportunity is this small
Yep.
to get it. But at the same time, if he had a really good agent, he was like, bro, don't take this money. Stay in Kansas City. You got a phenomenal quarterback. You got a phenomenal head coach. You got a phenomenal OC. Like, and you got a good crew around you. You could probably win
Yep.
2, 3 more Super Bowls in the next 5 or 6 years, and you will make all the money you was gonna make in Miami on endorsements. You don't have to make it on from the actual team itself. You'll get that money from endorsements. That's what a good agent would have told him. And if I was him, I don't care who his agent is. I don't care if it's Drew. I'd have fired Drew ass too if I was his agent. I'd get rid of Drew and find me somebody that actually see my true potential, and I would go somewhere that has a phenomenal quarterback and a great OC or a great head coach, and allow me to continue to develop and become a better version of
Wilcox,
myself.
problem is you can't tell us nothing. A lot of these players, I mean, you're smart. You know, I'm a
You
smart. These
can,
guys, you can't tell nothing. He got the earring. He got the flash and the style. He got Miami, the Lamborghinis, the water, and Kansas City. He was already thinking,
yeah,
yo, if I can make more money and go to Miami, ain't nothing keep me in
yeah,
Kansas City. So that is you right, but it was
yeah.
hard for him at that age to see that.
Yeah, he almost got locked up in
Yeah.
Miami too. So after that shit, you like, it's time to go, baby. They don't love me like I
No,
thought they did. I got to get up out of here, bro. That dude about to take me to jail out here in front of everybody. Had me on the
ooh,
ground, handcuffs,
no, you
everything. Treat me like I'm a rude
right,
boy out here.
exactly. All right, the MVP race, man. The MVP race is heating up.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson,
Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen,
Lamar
Lamar
Jackson,
Jackson. All these guys
Lamar
are in the
Jackson.
MVP race, but
Yeah.
there's always drama, man. So I think I know where you're heading, but why is Lamar Jackson the overall favorite for the MVP race, in your opinion?
Right now, if you had to go do the NFL top 100, who are you voting the number one player in the league?
I'm doing Lamar
All
all day.
day. So that's what I'm
You're
saying.
a
The
Raven. I'm a
NFL top
Raven. We're both a
100
little
out.
biased.
I'm
We
just,
gotta have some
I'm just
facts.
saying.
We need some facts.
I'm just saying, bro. If you ever played against anybody like Lamar, if you played against him and you on the
Yeah.
defensive side of the ball, bro, you are biting your nails when you got to play this
Uh-huh.
dude. When you over there and your hand in the dirt come off that edge, you're like, bro, I got to get to him. Then you be like, when I get to him, you're like, hold on, I need to pause
break
because
down. Break
anything
down.
can happen. Bro, I'm telling you right now, he's the scariest freaking quarterback in the in the NFL football league. And I'm telling you right now, Ovi, hands down, Lamar Jackson
But
is
he
the
already got
MVP
the
this year.
MVP. He
And
already got it twice. So
he got it
he
twice.
got it
He got it
twice already.
twice. And he deserved it 3 times, Ovi. He deserved it 3 times. He really do deserve it 3 times. The crazy thing about it, is that I'm not even upset if he don't get it because I really want him to
Yeah.
go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
win a Super Bowl, and get a Super Bowl
He don't want
MVP.
it.
And that's even better than a regular
Absolutely. He
MVP.
doesn't want it.
You
I
know
think he
what I
said,
mean?
like, I have no interest in the MVP. He's playing this hard to get
He
ready
don't.
for the Super Bowl. because that is something
He,
that's going to
that's it.
define him. And no matter how many individual awards he gets, not only
Yep.
is the world going to not elevate him to the position he deserves, but I think him personally, he's not going to feel complete until he does what he knows
Yeah.
he can, which is to lead his team to the Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl. So I had a chance during, I think, Terrell Suggs' Ring of Honor induction to be on the field with everybody
Yeah.
else and watch Lamar walk through it. I've never been on the same field as Lamar, and when he walked through, it's like you, a presence. It was an aura. This guy is just like
Yeah.
sparks energy. Like
He different.
being his teammate, it's got to be so much fun. And being
Yeah.
somebody who has to tackle him has to be
Man.
terrifying because
Man.
it seems like at any second he could just,
Shit.
phase into whatever position on the field he wants to be in. The man's he's got no limits, and so I hate it when he's not allowed
Yeah.
himself to reach his full potential because he can do anything. He's MVP every single year material, but this year
Yeah.
don't give it to him. Don't give it to him because last year's Q gave it to him. It's been like,
Yeah.
okay, it's good enough. I want him to say, you know what? They didn't give it to me. Good. I'm gonna get it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, if they give it to somebody else, I'm not even
Yeah,
upset
he
about
deserves
that at
it. But
all. Like I really, like I told you, it's to me, it should be the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. That's what he truly wants. That's what I truly want
yeah,
him to have. I want him to go win the Super Bowl. I want him to have the Super Bowl MVP trophy. I want him to get that fresh Cadillac that they're
yes,
gonna give him that ain't came
yes,
out yet. I want him to have all that experience. He deserves it, bro. Like he really, honestly, do deserve it. And he's the most hated on,
he
talented
is.
guy I've ever seen in the NFL. He the only person I know that's more hated on Lamar, that's hated on more than Lamar Jackson is LeBron James. You
That's
know,
right. And
so
because he's
yeah,
not Patrick Mahomes, he ain't light skinned, his hair ain't nice and curly, his face look a little bit more
right.
aggressive,
And then some, and then
yeah, and
some,
then some.
and then
He
some.
ain't
Yep,
getting the
hundred
endorsements.
percent.
You ain't seen him on TV. Lamar, 2 MVPs. You should see this brother everywhere,
Yeah,
but you don't see Harden anywhere,
right,
and that kind of bothers me as a fellow
right.
dark skinned brother who tends to look a little bit aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so um, I don't know, man, but hopefully they give Lamar or they don't give Lamar the MVP, but he deserves it. I know that. All right, Wilcox, we got two more questions for you, but they're fair or foul questions. You just let me know if you think it's fair, if you think it's foul. Real
Okay,
simple. Deion Sanders, Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter have decided to skip the NFL draft in person. They're gonna do their own thing and host their own event in Colorado. Is that fair or foul? They messed up tradition, or they doing what's best for themselves?
fair,
All right. Why?
fair. Okay, I get to tell why. I just thought I had to
Yeah.
say fair or foul. Okay, cool. The reason why I think it's a cool thing is because times have changed, man. I mean, social media, I mean, you got access to everything. And the draft now is so highly televised. They will
Mhm.
have draft cameras at Colorado to see them boys get drafted there.
Yes, they sure
So
will.
yeah. And it gives you a different environment and a different celebration feel and how it's actually going on in the city of Boulder. So I think that's kind of dope. Actually, I think it would be kind of cool to kind of see, maybe the number one and the number two pick get picked at their university. And I
Yeah.
think it may start a new trend,
It,
So
it
I'm
absolutely will start a new trend
yeah.
because you know what? That's diverting that money that would go to New York or go to the draft party, and it's going
Mm-hmm.
to stay with those kids,
Yep.
stay with the sponsors for the kids, and stay with the schools. So
hundred
it's
percent.
definitely going to start something and leave it to Prime to be a trendsetter. That's what the man does.
To maximize the entire potential of that whole moment.
Absolutely. All right, last question, man. Bleacher Report ranked Angel Reese higher than Jason Tatum on their predicting top 25 athletes of the next 25 years. Does Angel Reese higher ranking make sense, or is it a reach to have Angel Reese over Jason Tatum?
I say fair. I say
Oh,
100%
ooh,
fair.
really? Really? Because
Yeah.
I did
We
not think you were going to go that route.
No, I mean you got to really think about what like I just finished saying like 2 seconds ago. Ov, like the social media world has taken over now. We
Yeah.
didn't grow up in this. Imagine if we
Nope.
had this, dog. Imagine if Lamar Jackson was my quarterback in my prime.
Crazy.
Imagine how big I would be right now. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So just to me, when you see Angel Reese and she's a beautiful girl and she shows you how beautiful she is every opportunity she get.
She does.
She tagged herself to buy you Barbie. That's playing right. To me, that was so smart as far as social media and networking and marketing yourself. And what did our agents tell us as soon as we signed with our agents? That we're the first hire in our own business, right?
Yep.
And then the agent is our second hire in our company. So she's her first hire. She's conducting her own business. She has sponsors all over the freaking place. She's super visible on social media. She's taking huge advantage of it. She was making more. in college that she's making in the NBA right now, in the
Yeah,
WNBA. So I could 100% see her bigger and just a bigger face, more recognition. Everybody in the world knows who Angel Reese is. And just like she was telling you about the Caitlin Clark stuff, she was like, it wasn't just Caitlin that was balling in college. I was balling too. The reason why you know who
exactly.
Caitlin Clark is because I did what I did. When I
Yep,
did that right there, you
yep.
see me, high hater, all that mess, that set the tone for all that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese controversy, and she took off from there. And it's dope to see a female athlete get the type of recognition that she's getting. And the WNBA has had tremendous turnover since her and Caitlin Clark has walked through the door. So I could definitely see it happening, man. She's a beautiful girl.
That's what's up, man. Hey, thank you for
Yeah,
joining.
no doubt.
God bless. Stay safe in the snow. We'll talk soon.
You too, Obi. Thanks for having me on, man. Good luck with Shadow League.
Yes, sir.